This is not a commercial for The Way I Heard It with Mike Rowe, the award-winning podcast now entering its 10th year and available wherever podcasts are listened to. No, this is a commercial for Mike Rowe's foundation, which has just set aside $10 million to help train the next generation of skilled workers. That money is available right now at microworks.org. It's waiting for anyone who wants to learn a skill that doesn't require a 4-year degree. Electricians, plumbers, linemen, welders, shipbuilders, HVAC techs. America is desperate for men and women with skills they don't teach in universities. And the MicroWorks Foundation is committed to helping train America's workforce for hundreds of thousands of AI-proof six-figure jobs just waiting to be filled. Apply today for a work ethic scholarship at microworks.org or support our efforts with a donation of any size. We're closing America's skills gap one job at a time, and we could use your help at microworks.org, MIKEROWE works.org.
Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Welcome to another short and sweet solo episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. This year has been really challenging for me on so many levels, and I wanted to take a moment to reflect and talk about emotions and how to deal with them in a constructive way. Believe me when I say this is as much of a reminder to myself as it might be a reminder for you. Quick update before we get started. I'm 1 week into the 30-day Magic Mind Challenge now. It's been 7 days of daily shots, and here's what I've noticed. So one of the big changes that I've noticed is my sustained energy throughout the day. No more afternoon slumps, and I'm handling tasks with more efficiency. It's like my brain is just sharper. And I've also noticed that it's having a positive effect on my overall mood, which is fantastic, and I bet everyone around me is grateful for that too. Anyway, the great thing about Magic Mind is that it uses a combination of ingredients that work together over time. For example, the adaptogens help with stress reduction, and the nootropics support cognitive function. It's like giving your brain a daily boost. If you're interested, join the challenge too. Visit magicmind.com/ClaudiaG and use the code ClaudiaG20 to get up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase. Let's see how much we can improve in just 30 days. Without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Now, I'm not telling you anything surprising by saying that dealing with strong emotions is not for the faint of heart. After my husband left me from one day to the next, and I later found out that he had been cheating on me for a while, my whole world collapsed like a house of cards. I've had times when I felt like I was drowning in a sea of sadness, when the emotions were so strong that I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I didn't know how to get through the day. And it's a really terrifying place to be in because the pressure just keeps building. You desperately need to get some rest so that you can function during the day, but your body's nervous system is on such high alert, it just won't let you sleep. When something that traumatic happens to you, whether from a single event or ongoing experiences, it can leave a profound imprint on both the body and the mind. It often disrupts the normal functioning of the nervous system, leaving you in a constant state of either hyperarousal or numbness. And to heal from that trauma, it's crucial to have the nervous system return to a state of balance. So a lot of what I've tried to do this year is just to rebalance my nervous system to get back a sense of safety. And if you're in a similar situation where your nervous system is just completely out of whack, here are 5 things that I've found really helpful. So the first one is exercise. Running really has been my therapy. The second is breath work. So breath work and especially humming have been really effective for me. I mean, humming out loud makes me feel like a weirdo, but hey, if it helps, so be it. The third thing I'd recommend is yoga and or deep stretching. This has been really great because the emotional stress will show up as tension in your body and you will want to deal with that muscular tension. A great book to read on this is The Body Keeps the Score, in which Dr. Bessel van der Kolk emphasizes how trauma is stored not just in the mind but also in the body. Another powerful tool for rebalancing the nervous system is cold exposure. So practices such as cold showers, ice bath, or simply immersing your hands or face in cold water can help reset the autonomic nervous system. Cold exposure activates the vagus nerve, which plays a key role in regulating our parasympathetic response. So, the part of your nervous system responsible for rest and relaxation. This can lead to increased resilience against stress, a heightened sense of well being, and a greater capacity to manage emotional responses. So, by deliberately engaging with cold exposure, you teach your body to handle stress more effectively, basically helping to create a sense of calm and balance in both the mind and the body. The fifth thing that I would recommend is social medicine. I know when you're dealing with really strong emotions, you might not feel like talking about it, but it does help, at least in my experience. So at first, I really didn't want to talk about any of this because it brought up a lot of shame and not good enoughness for me. Like, how embarrassing to be the person who got cheated on and left behind by her husband. But you know what? Maybe trusting your partner and giving them the benefit of the doubt is not something to be ashamed of. Anyway, I find that talking about it helps to process the trauma. You feel less alone and more connected, which again sends your nervous system a signal that it's okay to relax again. And maybe to add another thing to the list, reframing is also a really powerful tool. It might not work instantly, but it helps you to slowly shift out of the victim mode again and to regain your confidence and self esteem. So, to do that, it can be helpful to understand what emotions are and where they come from. For a long time, emotions were thought to be universal hardwired responses that are triggered automatically by specific situations. So the classic view is that everyone has the same basic emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust, each with its own distinct facial expressions and physiological responses. But recent research, especially the work of Lisa Feldman Barrett, challenges this idea. In her book, How Emotions Are Made, Barrett argues that emotions are not innate universal reactions. Instead, they are constructed by our brains based on our past experiences, cultural context, and individual interpretations of the world around us. So let's break that down a bit. According to Barrett's theory of constructed emotions, our brains don't simply react to stimuli with pre programmed emotions. Instead, they predict and create emotions by combining sensory input with our memories, beliefs, and expectations. This means that emotions are highly individual and shaped by our unique experiences and cultural background. For example, what you experience as fear in one situation might be completely different from how someone else experiences it in a similar context. And the same goes for other emotions like anger or happiness. So if emotions are constructed, what does that mean for how we understand them? Let's explore some of the main emotions: fear, anger, sadness, and happiness, and their deeper meanings. Fear is often seen as a basic survival mechanism, an instinctual response to danger. But from a constructed perspective, fear is more complex. It's not just a reaction to a threat, it's also a prediction. Your brain uses past experiences to predict what might happen in a situation and triggers the feeling of fear as a way to prepare you for action. However, because fear is constructed, it can be influenced by your beliefs and cultural context. So, this means that learning to understand and reframe your fears can actually change how you experience them. For example, fear of failure can be reinterpreted as a sign that you're pushing your limits and growing. Anger is another emotion that's often misunderstood. It's typically viewed as a negative, deconstructive force, but anger can also be a sign that your brain is predicting injustice or unfairness. It's a way to mobilize energy to confront a situation that feels wrong. So, the primary function of anger is to get others to do what we want them to do or to prevent them from obstructing our goals. However, aggressive behavior fueled by anger usually fails to achieve those outcomes effectively. I mean, by recognizing what triggers your anger and understanding the underlying predictions your brain is making, you can channel that energy in a more constructive way. Here's a science fun fact. Some of the same brain regions and neurotransmitters are involved in processing physical and emotional pain. So hurt feelings really hurt. And pain has two distinctive components: a sensory component, which is where the pain is located and the quality of the pain, and an emotional component, which is how you interpret the pain and what meaning you give it. And these two components of pain are processed in different brain areas. You can change your perception of pain by reframing it. So neuroimaging studies in which researchers scan people's brains show that some of the same parts of the brain that are involved in the emotional component of physical pain are activated when people are rejected. So in case you needed to hear this, your pain has been scientifically validated. And by the way, here's another fun fact. Research has demonstrated that venting anger doesn't actually lead to feeling better, even though this is a common suggestion in media and pop psychology. Studies on anger reveal that in at least half of the cases where people express anger towards someone, the outcomes are negative. So simply asserting your views firmly can be as effective as expressing intense anger without causing the negative consequences that often follow an outburst. Now, sadness is commonly associated with loss or disappointment. From a constructed emotions perspective, sadness might be your brain's way of signaling a need for change or adaptation. It's not just about mourning what was lost. It's also about recalibrating your expectations and understanding your new reality. Acknowledging and accepting sadness can help you process and move through difficult experiences. Instead of viewing sadness as something to be avoided, it can be seen as an essential part of emotional growth and resilience. Finally, let's talk about happiness. While happiness is often seen as the ultimate goal, it's important to recognize that it too is constructed. What makes you happy might not make someone else happy, because your brain creates happiness based on your unique experiences and predictions about what will bring you pleasure and satisfaction. Understanding that happiness is constructed allows you to take control of it. You can learn to cultivate happiness by creating environments and experiences that align with your values and goals. This might involve practicing gratitude, building meaningful relationships, or engaging in activities that give you a sense of purpose. Now that we've explored the deeper meanings behind some of the main emotions, let's talk about how to deal with them constructively. So the first step is awareness. Since emotions are constructed by our brain, it's crucial to become aware of the thoughts, beliefs, and experiences that are contributing to your emotional state. Mindfulness practices like meditation or journaling can help you tune into your emotions and the factors that influence them. For me, I tried to find the hidden messages. Like when I experienced a lot of shame, I followed that thread by asking, where's this coming from? And there's a lot to learn by exploring those emotions with kind curiosity instead of just trying to avoid them. I tried to understand my role in the situation and how I might have contributed to the whole thing. And it's not about blaming or pointing fingers. It's about understanding patterns and deciding whether or not they are helpful or maladaptive and what to change going forward. After all, you don't want to run around in circles repeating the same mistakes, right? Let me share a beautiful poem that captures exactly what I mean. Here is Autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. First, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. 2, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. 3, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. It's my fault. I know where I am. I get out immediately. 4, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. 5, I walk down a different street. Beautiful, right? The point is, once you're aware of how your emotions are constructed, you can begin to reframe them. This means challenging the predictions your brain is making and considering alternative interpretations of a situation. For instance, instead of seeing anxiety as a sign that something is wrong, you might reframe it as excitement or a signal that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And emotional regulation really involves strategies to manage and respond to your emotions in healthy ways. And this could include deep breathing exercises, physical activity, or talking things through with someone you trust. The goal is not to suppress emotions, but to find constructive outlets for them. Finally, it's really important to recognize the social aspects of our emotions. Our emotions are deeply influenced by our interactions with others, and sharing your emotional experiences can lead to greater understanding and connection. Don't be afraid to talk about your emotions with friends, family, or a coach. This can help you process emotions more effectively and build stronger relationships. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this short and sweet episode on emotions and emotional regulation, don't forget to rate and review the show or leave a comment to share your thoughts. Take care and talk soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for new episodes and more updates on my Feel the Magic challenge. If you want to follow along and boost your energy and reduce your stress like I have, check out Magic Mind via the link in the description. You can get up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase with code ClaudiaG20. Let's see what 30 days of Magic Mind can do for you. I know we are all different, and what works for one person does not necessarily work equally well for somebody else. So I would love to hear your honest experiences. I'm confident that you will love the results. But even if you don't, there's no risk, since Magic Mind offers to refund 100%, no questions asked, for 100 days after buying. So enjoy. Thanks again for listening. Stay tuned and talk to you soon. Bye.